Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or whatever this is as I've been calling it, because again I still don't really know. So serving you a little goth on the prairie realness today. I did also want to thank you guys for letting me take last week off. I know I didn't upload last week. I was walking in the ASU fashion show. It was called Uncertainty. It was my first time on the runway. It was such an amazing experience, but I was literally there all day Saturday. I was prepping all day Friday, and then Sunday was Easter. I spent time with my family. So I did just want to thank you guys for letting me take that time off. I'm sorry I didn't upload. I plan on being back every week. You can check out my Instagram. I have photos from the fashion show if you'd like to see what that was about. It was such an amazing experience. I worked with so many cool people. I was so happy to be on the runway for the first time in my life, and that's something that I hope to do a lot going forward because it was a really amazing experience. So thank you guys again for being okay with that. I know I never asked you, and I actually don't care if you think it was okay or not because I did it and it's over. So I put a poll up on my Instagram as per usual asking about what you guys wanted to see, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of into these like paranormal crime kind of stories that I'm telling, that I seem to have a lot of for some reason. So I'm going to tell another one of those, and let's just see where it takes us. I don't know. I mean, if that's what you guys are here for right now, then that's good. I'm glad that I'm building something that you guys are interested in, as I'm trying to kind of build an audience, because eventually I do want to start talking about maybe some more real things and spreading some advice that I might have. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the time I was in Santa Barbara and I was staying in a place that was possessed. So I don't really know what that means, actually. Even to this day I'm not quite fully sure, but so a little bit of backstory. I went to a Christian high school. I'm in college now, so I've graduated and that's like behind me. But a huge part of the culture of this school was mission trips and going to just different places literally all over the world and just helping people. And when I tell people that I went on a missions trip to Santa Barbara, I think people get kind of confused because they're like, Santa Barbara is one of the wealthiest places, like especially even in this country. Like that's kind of like not where you would really see people going on a missions trip, because people went to like Thailand and like India and like developing third world countries and like all this different things, and I went to Santa Barbara. But I think it kind of surprises people that Santa Barbara has one of the highest populations of homeless people in the United States. A lot of people there are really struggling, so we went there solely to work with homeless people, and we worked in soup kitchens and just places like that, even just buying socks and passing them out to people on the streets. It surprised me how many people there were in need, and it was really sad. It was truthfully a life-changing experience. This was my freshman year of high school, so this was like 4 years ago. The worst parts about it was we stayed at like what would be like a Christian camp for kids like in the summer, and that's where we stayed when we were there, and this was like over our spring break at the time, so this was like this time of year. So it wasn't open as like a summer camp, but they still let us stay there, so we stayed in these like crappy little cabins that were like built out of legit just like plywood and like these really crappy beds, so not anything too dissimilar from college actually. So we stayed in this little place for about a full week doing all these different things, and I met some amazing people that I had actually been going to high school with all this whole time and just didn't really know them, and probably the better trips that I've gone on in my entire life actually. Like, it wasn't a vacation, but it was so much fun that it felt like one, even when we were doing kind of deep, difficult stuff, you know, working with these homeless people and like hearing their stories and everything. It was just truthfully amazing through and through. So one of the kids on this trip, I was a freshman, he was a senior, and I just feel so bad about this. I legitimately cannot remember his name. We didn't spend it, we did this trip, and then he graduated, and then we never saw each other again. So I feel really bad about this, but I can't remember his name. But he went off. Like, there were times when we were able to just like go walk around Santa Barbara and like go shopping and stuff, and he went to this like witchcraft wizardry store, I guess, and like, he bought a bunch of like crystals, because he was kind of like a different kind of guy. Like, we went to a Christian high school, but he was like had his own ideas about religion and stuff, I guess. And like, I was in this place at that time too, where I was kind of trying to figure out my religious beliefs as well. And so I'm not going to get into that right now, but you know, that's just like a little bit of backstory. So he went and purchased these like crystals that were, I guess, supposed to help you communicate with people in a different realm. Now you can interpret that as like ghosts if you want, or just like maybe like talk with gods and goddesses if that's what your beliefs are, or just one god if that's your belief. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is like whatever your religious beliefs, it helps you get closer to whatever's on the other side. It was apparently, that's what the sales pitch was when he was sold these crystals. So he took him back to his little cabin. We all stayed in our own little cabins with like, I think like 3 or 4 other people. We were all sitting around the fireplace, like a little fire pit outside. And this was like one of the last nights of the trip too. And so we're all sitting out there, and oh, the kid's name, oh my god, the kid's name was Andy. His name was Andy. Okay. So Andy and a couple other guys that he was friends with, they all go back to their cabin that they're all staying in together, and a bunch of us girls that were on the trip, because it wasn't huge, I think there was like 10 of us or something, were like, something's up, like something's really wrong with our cabin. They were like, it's really cold in there, and it just, something just feels weird. And so we all go up to this cabin, and I went in there. A lot of people didn't want to go in there because they were like really freaked out about it or whatever, and I was like, I don't know if this is true or not, and like I feel like they're just pulling some like BS prank on us or something, like trying to scare their, you know, like freshman girls or whatever. And so I was like, I'm not about to take this from you, I'm gonna go in there and see what's up. But it was true. When I walked in there, just the temperature was like, it wasn't cold as in like, oh, the AC's on. First of all, there wasn't AC in there anyway, so that couldn't have been it. But like, you walked in there and it was like just this different type of cold. Like, not something that I've ever really experienced before. Like, truthfully, just as soon as you walk through the door frame, like a temperature drop. But there also just, it just felt presence was there, and it was like, not necessarily watching us or something, but just existing somewhere in the room. You could just, it just felt like there was just like something there. Like just a tremendous weight on your shoulders, I guess. Not physically, of course, but it just felt there was just something wrong. It felt like the way that it might feel, and this is kind of like sad or like maybe a little bit deep, but I don't know if anyone has ever like had a family member die or had someone that you were close to die, and the way that you felt when you were first told that piece of news, that's the way it felt, but like you weren't told anything. It was just a feeling that was just there. It just felt that way in the room, like that kind of tension just existed. So Mr. Palmer, who was a Bible teacher at our school and probably really well versed in the Bible and like just religions in general, he was just like, is there a Ouija board in this room? Is there anything in this room that we should know about that might be bringing in some kind of different presence? And Andy was like, yeah, I bought these crystals the other day, but like I don't think that's it. And Mr. Palmer just like, just almost as pale as me, ghost white, was like, no, there's something with those crystals. And so Andy took them outside and he just like hucked them into the forest, just way out in the trees. So which, looking back on it, I'm like, did that really do anything? Like maybe it got the crystals out of the room or something, but it was just like, did that really get rid of it? Demon is just stuck in these crystals out in the forest, and maybe now that whole entire camp is haunted or something, I don't know. So he did that, and then we all came back into the room. Mr. Palmer made us all like gather around and like pray over the room and just like ask for any presence to leave or something. And during this time, I remember, oh, there was this one kid who just flipped out when we were like standing around praying. Like something really got to him. Like he just started kind of freaking out, and he like later told us, he was like, I saw shadows that weren't supposed to be there. Like I saw things, just like shadows lining the walls, like as if someone was walking, but we were all standing there, we were standing still, and like I didn't see any of this, so I was like, I don't really know, like this, for all I know, this could be like a prank or something, but I did feel what they were talking about. I felt that negativity and that just chill that you would probably feel. So I was kind of confused, and I was kind of just I had a sense of unknowing about it. To this day, I still don't really understand. But it was one of the creepiest things that I think I've ever experienced, actually, when I look back on it. Like, there was something about it that just felt like this isn't right, and something maybe paranormal could be happening there. I'm still kind of developing my beliefs on, like, as to what I believe about, like, ghosts and the paranormal realm and everything. But as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to ghosts, you know, I think a lot of people kind of think like, oh, seeing is believing, but, you know, the chance that that actually happens to you where you do get to see those things might be kind of rare. So this was probably one of the times in my life when I got as close as I probably could to experiencing like some kind of like otherworldly presence. And although it felt very evil and destructive and malevolent, I think there is a strong possibility that what we experienced was paranormal. I don't know. I'm not going to definitively say that it was one thing or another, but it did go away, which was the scary part. Was once Andy threw those crystals into the forest and we had all stood around and kind of prayed for a little bit, it was gone. Like, it got warmer in there, and that evil kind of presence just seemed to leave. I did start to question, like, why were some of those people that may have been like stronger in their beliefs or something, like, why were they so hesitant to go in there? And why did it feel so like weird and strange to me? Like, why? I don't really know. So it wasn't like a huge big paranormal. I've had people tell me like that they've had demons like pull on their foot in the middle of the night, and whether you choose to believe those stories or not is really subjective. It kind of is completely up to you. But that was one of my experiences with like something that felt like an otherworldly presence, like a malevolent, negative presence. So that's up to you guys now. You've heard the story, and although you maybe didn't experience it yourself, it's not quite the same. But if you want to choose to believe that that's like a piece of evidence towards there could be something else that's out there, maybe there are different types of presences that are out there, yes or no, I don't know. And I'm not going to definitively say, because like I said, I'm still building my beliefs on that one, but that was a pretty solid piece of evidence and experience for me, in the idea that like there could be a Satan, there could be a devil, there could be Lord knows what out there. I mean, I think feeling something like that doesn't just come from out of nowhere. There is a source for those kind of ideas and that kind of evil. Okay, well there you guys go. This was a quick one, just a short story that I wanted to tell. It seemed like people were interested. Check out my Instagram, spooky.alice is my name. You can check me out there. You can vote in polls and see what kind of things I'm looking at posting. If you're interested in like talking to me about topics, you can also leave those kinds of things in the comments down below. Things that you want me to talk about, things that you want me to see. I do want to get into some other stuff. I've been doing a lot of paranormal and like weird stuff here, but I do want to kind of build a sort of trust and like have a decent pack of listeners before I get into anything too deep and too serious. But I do want that to happen in the future. So check me out, leave a comment. That's kind of all I have for now, so I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!